everybody, and welcome to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, brought to you by the UPS Store, 5510 Northeast Antioch in north of Kansas City. First today, we'll be visiting with Tyler Bullis, who is voted by the student body as the most likely to succeed. He's a former football player here at William Jewell. And then we'll be talking to Paul Worstel, the tennis coach at William Jewell. And finally, Dustin Combs joins us for our final segment, Inside the Cardinal Playbook. We had a chance to sit down and visit with Tyler Bullis, the former defensive end for the Cardinals, a little bit earlier in the week.
Well, let's talk about the award. Would you name the award and tell us what the award was for?
The Colonel Alexander Donovan Award. It is selected by the senior class, and they select one male student who they feel is most likely to succeed, and then there's a female award for the other half of the class. So.
This is a big deal, though. This is something that transcends athletics, that what we deal with mostly this side of the campus. And what does it mean to you, though?
I feel like my classmates showed me a tremendous amount of respect, and that they respect me as a leader on campus, and they expect me, and the expectation for me is to be a leader in whatever business world or job I get after school. So there's a level of respect I feel that they bestowed upon me, but also an expectation.
Yeah, and what kind of made you come to that point? I mean, what things have you been involved with on campus other than athletics, obviously?
Yes, I was, of course, a player on the football team, and I have a major that is in both the business and the science department, so I got to interact with a large variety of students. I was very active in my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Order, at both the William Jewell level as well as the national level for that. I actually took an internship in Washington, D.C. with them this summer. So I've been around campus a bunch, and then there's some other, like Order of Omega, which is an honor society, Alpha Lambda Delta, which is an honor society, and there's a few other things mixed in there that I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about. So, yeah, I've been pretty involved in campus, and I mean that's one of the reasons why I came here at Jewell.
What value is that as far as the campus life? If you were talking to a freshman who wants to sit in his dorm, except for classes, what would you say to him?
Don't come to Jewell, because you won't enjoy it. What makes Jewell special is the communal aspect of it, and people who want to just kind of breeze through college and go to class and get a degree, they don't belong at Jewell, because in order to get the full Jewell experience, you need to be engaging with your peers, engaging with the professors, and getting the whole community aspect of the campus.
Talk to us a little bit, if you would, about what your future plans are past graduation.
My future plans are pretty open. I took a very broad major, so I would have a lot of doors open when I left school, and none of the doors have really closed, so that's making my job of selecting a profession pretty difficult. I'm very interested in the biotechnology field, whether I want to get into that as a doctor and be doing the advancement of the field, or if I want to be going into that on the business aspect of it, in the sales, the development, and the financing of these projects. I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm going to graduate and get a job in some sort of a science-related company and see where I go from there. If I can return to school, I return to school. If not, I just keep going.
How about the idea of fraternities being involved in campus life? First of all, how involved are the fraternities? And second of all, as an athlete, how did that work?
You definitely had to pick times and be a good time manager with being an athlete and being in a fraternity, because a lot of what's in a fraternity is, I think the vast majority of the time is spent in philanthropic work. So on the weekends, on the nights, you're trying to raise money a few times a year, you're trying to raise man hours a few times a year. So it does take a lot of work in to make sure that the house is operating well. Originally when I came to Jewell, I wasn't going to join one because I felt like the football team was a fraternity in itself, because you're just a close band of guys. But because the football team's so large, I mean we're over 100 guys now, I wanted something a little more secluded and a little more intimate, so I chose a fraternity where I could have those really close connections with maybe 10 guys. So that's how I went about that decision.
Coaches supportive of that for the most part?
Yeah, coaches are very supportive of that. They understand that one of the reasons why kids come to Jewell is because they can be involved in multiple things, and I don't think that they would be happy if I was missing practice so I could attend a dance, but I think they would understand that being at Jewell is a community thing, and you need to take advantage of other activities, including fraternity life at Jewell while you're here.
For people that don't know, I've said this to you before and you didn't seem offended by it, but an undersized defensive lineman is a good way to describe your role here during your football career?
That would be accurate, yes.
What was that like, especially in the transition to Division II? Those guys across the line must have gotten a lot bigger in Division II.
They were stronger and had better technique. I wouldn't say they were any bigger. The guys I just remember my freshman year, there was a guy who was 6'6", 360, and they don't get much bigger than that. But being an undersized defensive lineman, it made you appreciate Advil a lot. But the guys in Division II are better technique-wise than NAIA, and it takes a toll on your body to be done and to play, and you kind of have to pick and choose. If you're going to be an undersized defensive lineman, then you need to be a smarter player.
He's going to roll left.
Chased by Bullis. And out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
That didn't look like much, but Bullis did a nice job right there, really getting a good angle on him for a defensive lineman, getting him out of bounds for a couple-yard gain.
You can't be sticking your head down in the middle of gaps and those sorts of things in the middle of plays and expect to be okay after a game. So you have to be smart, you have to know your strengths, you have to address your weaknesses.
How about that move to Division II, though? Did you like it? I mean, in retrospect, now that it's over, was it the challenge it was painted to be?
I think that the challenge that we thought it was going to be, I mean, we thought it was just going to be a Herculean task, and I don't think it was for the most part. I think that we realized that we can play with these guys, and this past season and the year before that, we realized that we could play with Division II teams, especially in the GLVC, and I think that now that we see that we're there, we know what holes we need to fill and where we need to get better in order to compete there in the future.
Do you have a favorite moment from your football career?
Oh, favorite moment. I do remember, one moment that I remember specifically, though, is my visit. And that was what sealed the deal for me, because I knew I liked Jewel as a school, and it was a better school than the other ones I was looking at, but I didn't know if I liked the football team. And I had a visit, and some guys might remember Phil Scanlon and Mark Gerster, who were here 3 years ago, but they were some of the funniest guys you could ever be around. And after that visit, I had made my decision that I was going to come to Jewel, and just my favorite moment, I think, would be the bus rides to and from games with those guys, and being in the locker room before practice, before a game, because there was never a dull moment. And you know, you kind of need to choose your school based upon who you want to be around.
Barnes. Good protection. Now it breaks down, and the Cardinals come up with a sack. It may well have been Hearns, and also in there looks like Bullis.
Yeah, Tyler Bullis, that's what we need from him. He's one of our senior leaders. He's done a great job here at Jewel for 4 years, and he just kept coming.
How about campus life? Do you have one moment that kind of sticks out for you?
I would say this past semester, I really enjoy faculty-student interaction, and this past semester I've been able to interact with 3 or 4 professors on almost a weekly basis in a mentoring kind of capacity. And I would say that that's been the highlight of my 4 years here, just being able to say, you know, I'm almost done with my time here, but these 4 or 5 professors are going to be an influence in my life now and in the future.
Let's say I'm an 18-year-old, to wrap this up a little bit, and I'm looking between Jewel and maybe another school. What's your pitch to come to Jewel?
The academic rigor and the atmosphere that's promoted, I mean, it promotes involvement, it promotes success, and every single person at this institution wants you to succeed and will put you in a position to succeed. And I'm not sure that's something you're going to get from every other school.
I'm going to change the world. I've got computers, I've got financing, I've got clients. I've got a business plan. I have VC money. I've got a game-changing idea. I've given myself room to grow. We're dangerous. Very dangerous. This is only the beginning. I'm going to own the future. There's just one problem. I don't know how to print this.
Professional printing.
Help?
And everything else a small business needs, now at the UPS store.
I love logistics.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
Back inside the Cardinal Playbook, we're joined by men's and women's tennis coach Paul Worstell. And Coach, your season has been affected like everybody by the weather. But tell us about this weekend's meets.
This weekend we played, back on Wednesday we played our first conference match of the year. We played Rockhurst. Suffered a couple of tough defeats there. The men lost 7-2. Had some outstanding performances in that match. We won at number 1 doubles to start the match, which was a huge win for us. Won 8-3. And then we lost our number 2 doubles and number 3 doubles by a score of 9-8 in tie breaks.
Wow.
And in fact, at the number 2 and number 3 match, we had match points to be able to win those matches. So we could have come out of doubles up 3-0. Had a tough loss at number 3 singles with our senior Bronson Brassel. He lost in 3 sets and a tie break in the third. And then we got a win from Max Cooper at number 6. So, gosh, you can pull some of those results around. We could have won that match 5-4. So we competed very well with them. Women, we had a tough match with them. We lost that match as well. I believe we lost that match, and we just came out kind of flat that match. Weren't really, wasn't what I expected. We came out of doubles down 3-0, which we have not done at all at this point this year, and I feel like that doubles is one of our strengths. But, you know, you have those kind of days where you just are kind of off, and we weren't able to generate enough momentum going into singles. And so, but a tough break there. We ended up losing that match 7-1. We had to end one of the matches due to time constraints, and since Rockhurst had already
outdoor?
It was indoors again because of the weather.
Right.
And then Saturday, you know, we woke up, we started warming out with Drury. We warmed up outside, and then all of a sudden the rain came down, and so it was a very long day on Saturday playing indoors and having to work around their indoor schedule at Clayview. But what wonderful people we have at Clayview to work with and associate with. They really worked with us and got us the courts that we needed to get the match completed, and I can't say enough good things about them. Drury is one of the powerhouses in our conference. They were a very tough team.
Both the men's and
both
the women's
sides.
sides?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they are very tough. The men lost that match, but again had some great competitive situations there. Max Cooper again at number 6 won his match. Saw some great energy there. Lost a couple of close doubles matches. Shane Gianetti at number 1 battled in his match and lost in 2 sets. Brian Thomas lost in a 3rd set at number 2. Bronson again lost a very close match, 6-4, 6-4 at number 3 singles. So he pretty much went the distance there that you can in a set. And so I was very, very proud of how we battled. And then on the women's side, extremely well. I feel like Katie Lanbauer and Kristen Stivers played their best match of the year at number 1 doubles. They lost 9-7, and they pretty much took that match to the limit as well. Lost a tough one at number 2 doubles, and then lost a close one at number 3 doubles as well. So again, put us in kind of a 3-0 hole going into the singles play. The only victories we got in that match was a match from Lurie Hazelrig at number 5. She actually won because of a default, and then Carly Bassesi won her match at number 6 singles. So was overall very proud of how we competed against probably the top team in our conference. So.
Paul, I want to talk to you about several things you touched on there, but let's talk about Lurie Hazelrig. She was the conference player of the week a week or so ago. Tell us about her a little bit.
I feel like I jinxed her. We nominated her last week for player of the week. At the time we did that, she was undefeated in doubles play, number 2 single or number 2 doubles, and has just been a solid performer at our number 5 singles spot. And just a very consistent player, great attitude on the court, great attitude in practice. Always willing to go the extra mile. Her and her twin sister Connor are a very, very good doubles team, and they communicate so well together. And they won a big match over in Hilton Head against a team that was ranked number 35 in the nation. They were the only ones that gave us a win during that duel, and so that's why I felt the need to nominate her for Player of the Week. And she's just had a tremendous spring up to this point. And really excited that she's just a sophomore, that we have her back for 2 years. And I think that kind of attitude that her and her sister display are great attitudes that will become infectious for the entire team and for their work ethic. And so, but again, I felt almost like we jinxed her because after that, she's lost a couple of matches to Rockhurst and Drury. And so, But no, I'm really excited about what we have going for this week, and I think they'll get it turned around for us.
When we go to the Division II and the Great Lakes Valley Conference, we knew that all of our sports would be challenged to raise their game. How's that been in tennis? What's it been like on the tennis side of things?
We feel like that we have actually come into the conference and really have made a name for ourselves from the get-go. We had a very strong core from the teams that we had in the old NAIA days. We had a very strong core on both sides, the men and the women. Last year, for instance, was our provisional year, but both teams would have qualified for the conference tournament had we been able to play that. The way it's looking right now, we lost a couple. I mean, quite honestly, we had to face the two toughest teams to start the conference season with, and so I'm real curious as to how we'll bounce back as we start play this weekend at Maryville and at University of Missouri St. Louis. Those are going to be some matches where we're going to have to turn around and respond and really put the conference back on notice that, hey, we mean business, and we're not in this just to compete, but we're in this to go for a conference title right away. So
you've mentioned the number one singles team and number two doubles and so on. How do you decide who's number one, number two, or whatever?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. Coach Wake and I, my assistant coach, we talk all the time about our lineup. For the most part, you look at results, you look at ability over the other players. There'll be times when we will fluctuate the lineup a little bit, depending on how people are playing.
Match up a little bit?
Not necessarily matching up, but just on momentum, that kind of thing, or how someone is playing at a particular time. If someone is playing number 4 singles, for instance, and they're getting beat quite handily for a while, we may move that person down to get them their confidence back a little bit. That kind of thing. But Coach Wake and I have been doing this for a very long time, and I lean heavily on Coach Wake's experience. He used to work with the USTA a long time ago, and would be what's called a verifier, where he would decide what your ranking was in regards to where you fit within the USTA system. And so we lean on each other in that regard as far as where we put people. And the great thing about being a college tennis coach is we get to recruit. And we kind of know and we kind of project when the player comes in as a recruit, we're kind of looking at them at a specific spot within our lineup compared to what we're losing to graduation that coming year. And so a lot of thought goes into that, and that's something that we kind of toy and play with every single year. So. Sure.
Would you talk a little bit about Lanny Wake, because it's a special relationship between the two of you?
It is. Coach Wake has always been a great, dear friend of mine. My 4th grade year in 1982, that was his first year of teaching. He was my elementary PE teacher, and he worked as the elementary PE teacher for over 30 years. And then I got to play tennis for him for 4 years and learned all my philosophies and all my ways of coaching under him those 4 years. And I took everything I learned from him into what I do now. And to have him back is so special. I'll tell you the quick story of how we got him. I'd heard through the grapevine that he was retiring, and so I placed a phone call, and I said, Coach Wake, I understand you're retiring, and I was just curious if, and he stopped me right there and he says, yeah, when do I sign? Nice. I mean, he kind of knew what was coming, and he is loving it. He is enjoying it, and he's loving the retired life, but yet he still puts in a lot of hours for us, and
he's kind of the Jedi Master, isn't he?
He is. He is, and he works so well with the players and with me, and I lean heavily on him, and I still, even though he's my assistant, I don't look at him in that regard. I look at him as equal, and I always am looking for his input and always leaning on him for advice, and he's a special person to me because I grew up trying to look for different role models in my life, and he was one of my biggest role models growing up.
You talked about the GLVC and the postseason you would have qualified for last year. Mm-hmm. This year, qualifying means what? How do you qualify, and how does that format work?
We are split into 2 divisions in tennis. We have an East and a West division, and we are in the West division. If you earn one of the top 4 spots in your division, then you qualify for the conference tournament, which brings together 8 teams. And so I think we have a good chance to make that top 4 on both sides. And then once you make that top 4, we'll get together in Indianapolis that 3rd week in April, and we'll compete. Most likely we'll have to compete against a higher seed from the other division. for the right to move on in that conference title. If you win the conference tournament, you are guaranteed an automatic bid into the national tournament. Yeah. If you don't win your conference tournament, you're kind of leaning on the chance of an automatic bid, and sometimes you kind of are at the mercy of other people making that decision for you.
Is it based on a regional ranking like other sports?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, based on that and based on results, and that's why in some regards we have tried to build our schedule as tough as we can. Sure. To show that we are playing some of the top teams around and some of the Division II teams, that we want to go in with a good strength of schedule when they consider us for that at-large bid. So,
good luck in St. Louis this weekend.
All right, thank you very much.
Paul Worstell, the head women's and men's tennis coach at William Jewell College, has been our guest on Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we're back in a moment.
This is corporate headquarters. As you can see, I have a unique business. How do I compete with the big boys? Got this fancy business address, a marketing department, distribution center. Got a great team, even a cafeteria.
That's mine.
From packing and shipping to printing and mailbox services, come into the UPS store for everything a small business needs.
I love logistics.
Who's serving up a big breakfast this weekend?
On an endless buffet, a juicy steak.
Don't flip out.
Only Golden Corral would include steak for breakfast. It's on our endless weekend breakfast buffet, all for a great low price. Only at Golden Corral.
Hi, this is Kurt McCoy, owner of Shop Local 365 KC. Local business owners, get your free premium listing with us today. Celebrating our grand relaunch with 6 months free premium business listing services. Get involved. Submit to us your favorite business, organization, or event, and we'll promote them for free today. Contact us today at www.shoplocal365kc.com.
Welcome, Dustin.
Thank you, Rick.
I tell you what, the weather has played havoc with you again. You were supposed to be on the road this week. It ends up being played in Liberty. Tell us about the series this weekend with Maryville and the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Well, yeah, like you said, we were all intentions to go to St. Louis, and we got hit with a pretty bad storm ourselves, but knew that in our conference we've just got to try anything we can to get these weekend series played. So we thought we might have a chance to play at home. So Monday after the snow, we got to work and spent I couldn't tell you how many hours trying to get our field ready, and so going on the road for us really is almost like a weekend off for Coach Bauer and myself, because we can just go let the girls play. And sure. But anyway, got our field playable, and played really well on Saturday. Had great pitching from Rachel Hayden. She actually picked up the win in both games, pitched a complete game, one hitter in game one, and then we brought her back later in game two, where she was able to keep us where we needed to be, and a huge walk-off home run by Megan Rister was how we ended Saturday. It was just an outstanding way to finish. Megan had really had some great at-bats throughout the year, and just couldn't catch any luck, hit it right at them, and very capable. In fact, she hit a home run earlier in the game that kept us in it, and then later in the bottom of the seventh got the opportunity to end the game, and in a tie ball game. And when she walked up to the plate, I could tell she was pretty locked in and felt really good about her having a good at bat, not necessarily knowing she's going to hit one out of the park, but knew she was going to get us going.
Before we go on to the games against them, so let's talk about Megan a little bit, because as a third baseman now for you, she's settled into a spot, it looks like. Tell us about how her early season has gone.
Well, she, one thing defensively for Megan is she bought into our fielding philosophy, and she's made some plays that were indicative of how we have to play those balls. And she's gotten really aggressive defensively, and she's a leader on the field, sometimes just by example, but she has some vocal leadership capabilities. It was a spot that we felt very unsure about filling whenever Taylor Brown graduated, but knew Megan was very capable. Courtney Johnson's played a little bit at third base and also has done a really good job for us defensively. Megan offensively has like I said, just hadn't caught many breaks. It's not a lack of her ability. It was just more of a lack of her catching any breaks and got, you know, in a slump early, and hopefully this weekend will help her get out of that.
The other young lady you mentioned was Rachel Hayden, who continues to fill a big spot for you in the circle, getting the one-hitter and then coming back in the second game. Is that awful tough to do?
Well, it is for her, who she battles a lot of arm soreness. We just can't get her past that. And really have tried to get one solid performance out of her a weekend is what we've been trying to do, and really didn't want to have to come and use her at all on Sunday, especially after coming in and getting both wins for us on Saturday. We were really, I was hoping that we could get by without throwing her at all. We did use her for an inning, but for her to have the type of performance she had on Saturday, we've got to manage her arm well, and she, when she's on, she's as good as anybody in the conference, I believe. She threw her changeup really well for strikes in any count, and you know, she's got good stuff.
Let's move to Saturday then, when UMSL came to town. Boy, they're very good.
UMSL is very good. You know, they have pitching that has proven to be very good. They're 9-1 on the year in the conference, and you know, we were right there in game 2. Game 1, we struggled offensively. We never figured her out. We didn't make the adjustments we needed to have a chance to win game 1. But hats off to her. She's very good, and unfortunately we have to see her several more years in the conference. Game 2, we came back and really came out, you know, like I would hope we would respond after getting beat. We came out and scored the first 3 runs of the game, and kind of felt like we had some control of everything, and they had a big inning, I believe, in the 5th, and took us out of it, so to speak, and then we came back and scored a run later, and really kind of gave us a chance to at least tie it in the bottom of the 7th, and just didn't get anything going.
Dustin, thank you so much, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
We're back with more Inside the Cardinal Playbook after this.
So, I'm my own man. I can work from home. I can make meetings, I can make deadlines, I can make proposals, I can remember birthdays, I can entertain clients, I can pay for lunch. Yeah, I can do it 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:15. I can do anything. Done. On it. Yes. Taken care of. 50 two-sided bound color presentations by tomorrow. I can do that. How do I do that? I love logistics.
At Hy-Vee, you'll find nothing but 100% USDC lot-inspected seafood. Oh, Devon, they're beautiful. And there's nothing better than salmon on the grill. The grill brings out heaps of flavour, and I combine it with a zesty Greek salad. Oh, bon appetit. Did you bring your appetites?
Yes.
Beautiful. Look at that. Fresh, healthy, and so delicious. Hy-Vee. How about a taste?
Yes, please.
Look at that. Smiles all round. Here you are.
And that's it for Inside the Cardinal Playbook this week. Again, keep your eyes on the website, jewelcardinals.com, for updates on our spring sports schedules. Our director has been Alex Conklin this afternoon, and thanks for watching Inside the Cardinal Playbook. We'll see you next week.